everyone. Welcome, welcome. This is Terry Berland and Nick Omana bringing you information on how to be successful in the voiceover industry. And I just want to start out by saying, well, first of all, Nick Omana is an accomplished voiceover artist. He's also my teaching partner in voiceover. And we have gotten many, many people started in voiceover and continue supporting them. It's our greatest pleasure to support voiceover artists. And I'm going to let Nick jump in a moment. I just want to start this out by saying that it's fall. The summer is officially over. And there are 2 times of the year that we all tend to kickstart and go into a sprint. And I feel that the summer is a time that you relax a little bit more than usual and you think. And then there's the last sprint until the new year. So voiceover, there's just so many opportunities. The way of putting out breakdowns was decentralized a number of years ago, and it's just opened up. And those of you who haven't gotten into it, and I know you want to, we're here to give you information on how to do that. Take it away, Nick.
And as you said, things have changed a lot in the industry, especially during COVID. It was not the normal way of doing business. We used to go into our agent's office for auditions. We used to go into casting directors' offices for auditions. We would go into studios for the jobs. And that all changed. March 17th, I remember it very clearly, of 2020. I was only about one of 10% of voice talent who had broadcast quality home studios. I'd been working from home for 12 years at that point. In a day, 90% of my competition went away. And it's taken the last few years for people to kind of catch up to me. But more and more, it is now the standard where you work from home. You're available to do your auditions from home. There's a good side and a bad side to everything, obviously. The good side is tremendous amounts of opportunity have opened up, especially because during COVID, new genres, new content needed for new creations that were coming out that were not as popular and not as busy as they are now. So there's an amazing amount of work available, and it really is just kind of like going back to the the gold rush of 49, 1849. Well, not that old. I have to reference that. But some people knew where to dig for the gold and became very, very wealthy as a result. Other people, all they did was end up with tons of dirt. And you need to know what that is and how that works. And so I've been fortunate enough in my 38-year career to have had the opportunity to learn those things. And that is what we bring to you as, coaches, teaching you the basics. And that's really what this is all about. You have to have a really good, solid foundation upon which to build your career. That is what this core basics class is really all about.
Yeah, so let's start with the basics. I just want to tell everyone that Jamie is in the audience. Jamie Mantos is my assistant and a voiceover artist herself. And she'll be manning the questions, and so you'll be well taken care of. You might see some messages from her, and that's what's going on there. Yeah, you have to know the basics. So many of you who are on here are actors. You, just like in acting, you need to know how to analyze a script. And but it takes your voice. So your voice has to do what you are asking it to do. That should probably be number 2. And number 1 is, what are you asking your voice to do? So there's emotions in your voice that you have to portray, whether that be pleased, positive, concerned. So you have to be able, that's one thing that you have to identify, and then make sure that your voice comes through with that.
And it
Anything?
really, I think a lot of it really boils down to if you're not used to hearing your voice, you have to get used to it. And the best way to do that is to get onto a recording device, record yourself and listen back, and really get used to what it is that you sound like. And you can't change your sound that much without sounding it like you're changing it. So figuring out what you sound like and how you apply your voice into certain situations. Some people, their natural energy just kind of leans sarcastic. Lean into that. That is what you do easily in like falling off a log. Some people, they can never seem to get the smile out of their voice. Lean into that as well. Also learn how to lose the smile, because that'll just open up more opportunities. But really, it's playing and experimenting and trying things more than anything. It's consistent practice. Nothing will happen if you don't apply it consistently across the board. So one class, a week is not going to build it. You have to build in time to work on it during the week. So I want people to understand that is the process.
The smile is interesting. I'll give you out there some nuggets. A smile can be used in a number of different ways. A smile can be used for warmth, for sarcasm, to sound above it all, and to sound reassuring. So how's that for some nuggets? And then I see a lot of hearts there. Yeah, there's a lot that is different than your on camera that has to be uncovered. And you want to build a very, very strong foundation.
One of the things that, as Terry is saying, if you're used to doing on-camera work, one of the things you're actually working to achieve is not doing too much in front of the camera, because everything plays so big to the camera. So say, give me less, give me less, give me less. In voiceover, it actually ends up being the exact opposite. Use your entire body to say what it is you're going to say. Gestures, you can see, if this was a wider shot, you'd see my hands are constantly moving. I cannot speak without using my hands. When I get behind the microphone, that doesn't change. I have to use my hands to express myself. So when I work over a piece of copy, I don't hold back on that. I implore you to get in the habit and be comfortable gesturing behind the microphone.
And just don't hit the mic with
No.
your hands.
Which I've done more than once, so okay, thanks for pointing that out.
So guys, you do need equipment, and it doesn't have to be expensive. There are really good mics out there for about $100. So you do need what's called a home studio. Some people even use their closet because it does have to be soundproofed. So we can assure you that it is not expensive to start in this career, right?
No, every it doesn't matter. And understand this basic concept, guys. You're starting a business. This is not a hobby if you're really going to be serious about wanting to get into this and make a living at it. So any business requires a capital investment, whether it's equipment, time, energy, money, resources, whatever the case may be. You have to realize what those are. And then, do you need to spend a ton of money? No. Those resources can range from small to large, depending on what it is you want to accomplish. You don't need to go out and spend $1,200 on a microphone or $5,000 on a Studio Brick studio. We have things that I can send you. We do this with our classes all the time. Equipment lists, booth plans, the whole thing to get you set up for a minimal amount of cost. Yes, it's not, $20, but it's also not going to be thousands. So any business is going to require that capital investment to get going, and then treat it like a business, because that's what it is. You're opening shop. You're going to be hanging your shingle out to sell your services, and you want to make sure that you're giving people as good a quality product as you possibly can, because that's how you get the return business.
Right. And as casting director, I can tell you that what happens now is you read from home, you send your auditions in through your agent, or if you requested individually, straight to the casting director. And sound quality does matter because everyone now is so educated. They're really hip to how to be very competitive in this business. So if you send something in where your sound sounds like you're in a can and there's lots of air around you, you're going to fall by the wayside. You're not going to get to the next level. So yeah, sound is very important.
Yeah, when you're auditioning, they're not just auditioning your talent, they're auditioning the sound quality of your recording environment. Because if you book the job, chances are they're going to have you link up via Source Connect to do the job. Now,
I'm
every
so
once in a
glad
while,
you said that, actually, because when I listen, so as a casting director, guys, your reads come through me, and then it's my responsibility to siphon out the good reads or leave the bad reads behind. And Nick is absolutely right. If you're just say my client's in LA and there's a main studio that you can go to in LA, fine. But and I book people from all over the country. And if you're from Iowa, and I do book people from Iowa, New York, any place, Georgia, and your sound doesn't sound right, exactly what Nick said. In my mind, I actually say to myself, oh, but this person is going to have to record from this equipment that they've sent me their audition from. I'm sorry, it's not up to par.
yeah. And there are times, I just happened to notice I've got something that's got a quick turnaround for this afternoon. If I were out at a session in town and I needed to get this audition in, I would record it from my car on my iPhone or my iPad, and I would send it off, but I would also let my agent know, or I would let the casting director know, just so you're aware, I was not able to get back to my home studio to record this. This is not the norm. This is just an audition, but my sound quality, and I can, most everybody knows what my sound quality is in my home studio. But if they don't, let them know this is not normal. I have a much better sounding setup at
Yeah.
home.
I noticed when I go to these conventions or look on the internet, people have now developed mics that when you're on the go, that give you a very good sound. So I would suggest that all of you look into that possibility. So when you are in your car,
And please
you can get.
pull over.
Oh, yes.
Don't text and drive, and don't read and drive. So.
Um, so we've established that you need to know the basics of how to analyze a script. You have to get to know your voice. And then you have to practice on a basic level because there are rhythms. Here's a little nugget. The way that we pause in real life is longer than a pause would be in reading voiceover. Nick, maybe you want to share some other things that are different than in real life.
Yeah, there are varying ranges of real. When they say we want something real,
Mm-hmm.
conversational, there's real, and there's commercial real. And if you
Mm-hmm.
can find out, get some clarification on just how real they want this, you can kind of fill in the gap. Being conversationally real is, as far commercially conversationally real, as you said, those gaps are a little bit tighter. It's more with the intention of what you're doing with your read than it is the actual physical gap. So you want to learn how to feel what that feels like, practice that. We do have timing elements we must adhere to because it can be a little bit short, but it can't be long because a lot of these commercials now have auto cutoff. So if you're doing an 800 number at the end of the commercial, it's 555 782 what? It got cut off. It's like no, we don't
Right.
know. So you have to make sure you can hit timings as well. Very, very important. All of those things kind of fit in. There are so many different aspects of what we need to learn to do well, but don't worry about it. Don't get overwhelmed by that. It's broken down into a simple process where we deal with one thing at a time, and you can get all kinds of things going on there.
Yeah. Um, which brings up editing. One of the things you guys have to learn is then how to edit, how to neutralize your sound, and don't over edit a nugget. Do not over edit. It should sound like you, not like a slick, finished product with no air. And I'm going to say the word breath in it. And I don't mean that we hear that. You know, that there's moments of spaces that have life in it. So please don't over edit.
No, as a matter of fact, and it's funny you should bring up breaths because I tried very hard to leave my breaths in my read. I
Mhm.
consciously try to make my breaths, quick, but not quick so quick that they sound like gasps. But the thing about AI, and this is something that everybody worries about, AI is coming in. You know what AI doesn't have? Breaths. They don't need to breathe. So, and somebody got really into that and they realized, oh, and so they added it to their AI. But it was the same breath sound repeatedly and it became very irritating. And that's all I could focus on, certainly not the message. So, there are a lot of things going on in the business. But as far as what Terry is saying, one of the things that I do know as a producer, when I get something that's too clean and too slick, it makes me nervous because I don't know how long it took that person to get that take. I don't know how many takes this has been Frankensteined between. So time is money. If I don't know that this person can come in and deliver the goods quickly, I'm going to shy away from it. So don't send in anything too perfect. Don't clean up all this stuff. Also, don't do 20 takes and try to, don't drive yourself. If you're not getting it in 3 or 4 takes, chances are you're not going to get it because you're going to overwork it to that point and it's going to lose its spontaneity anyway. So send the best of what you got, but leave it, don't don't obsess and overwork it.
Yeah, and they send you a lot of direction. When a casting director is involved, we tweak that direction to make it make more sense. But you will be getting a lot of copy from um, production companies or ad agencies that don't use a casting director. And you will see, you have to learn how to figure out what the direction is because sometimes they bring you every which way and it gets very confusing. So, yeah, that's one of the other things that you'll learn is how to, what in the direction you should pick up on, which way you should lean
And
to
I'm
give
sorry, I
the
don't mean to
best
be
read.
laughing, but every once in a while, I actually got a piece of copy about a week and a half ago. The direction and the specs were 4 times longer than the script itself.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a second. Okay, so we want a fast, slow read that's got energy but low key,
You're
and
right.
it's like, what? What? No. What you end up becoming is an interpreter. You learn to take the words that they're saying, and after a while, you begin to get a sense and a feel for what it is that they want. But that again all comes with exposure, practice, hitting the numbers, getting as many opportunities to read as possible, and you start getting a sense of what's going on.
Yeah. And I'm finding that the most up to date, the way I could describe it, read, if it's not an announcer, is to have a point of view. So you have to find, figure out what that means. And then there's something I started using, there's the I factor. And that's how you can start getting your point of view. In your preparation, I believe this. I use this product. I found satisfaction from this product. So instead of selling us, it's coming from a point of view. And that's my latest take on what's standing out in
Oh,
reads.
absolutely. I mean, you know, if you think about it, in a commercial, you're trying to persuade somebody to understand your point of view. Really, and that's all it boils down to. If you don't know what that point of view is, they won't either. You can't be vague. You can't be wishy-washy. You can't walk it up the middle and try and satisfy everybody because you'll satisfy nobody and you won't get the job. But I will tell you, I've had enough opportunities in my career where I've read a second take that was maybe a little different and a little off, uh, you know, as far as it didn't, it still satisfied the specs, but it added something else. And I booked them. Or enough times that other read was noticed, and a few weeks after that they'd call my agent and said, hey, you know what, Nick read on something a couple of weeks ago, wasn't exactly what we're looking for on that, but it's exactly what we want on this. And at worst, I'm now part of the audition call sheet, and at best it's a straight booking. So always go for a very, you know, make your choices, make them strong, make them distinct, and definitely have that point of view, have that opinion, and go with it,
Yeah.
you know.
And there are so many, let's not forget, so there are so many opportunities. There's, of course, obviously TV commercials and radio and promos, but there are other things like corporations need, they need, what would you call it?
There can be
For their
product
websites.
information. Yeah, there could be product information videos, sales
Yeah.
videos, training videos for their workforce. Heck,
Medical,
oh yeah,
medical
yeah.
videos, voices in tours of museums.
Yeah.
Um, there's just so many opportunities. And I really believe, and we see it from our students, and Nick and I know from conversations, lead our life like this. When you start getting involved in something, in this case, you start learning voiceover, then all of a sudden information starts coming to you and opportunities start popping up, and other talent that you meet in the even studying have opportunities for you, and you network with each other,
Yeah.
right, Nick?
It is probably the most supportive community in the acting world of any of them. And it's all based in your talent. It has nothing to do with anything but your talent. Because if you do on camera or theatrical, if you walk in the door and they want somebody who's, you know, taller, shorter, fatter, younger, older, darker hair, lighter hair, whatever, if you're not that, you're out of the running before you even get a chance to show them what it is you can do. With voiceover, they have to hear it before they can make a judgment. And will you be right for everything? No. Will you be right for something? Absolutely. And you just
That's
need to know what that is. You need to find out what your strengths are.
right. Okay, so everyone has to learn the basics, get good at the basics, have a home studio that's soundproof, know the technical part of editing and delivering the copy. There's something, there's Source Connect is the one that my clients always use. Are you finding there's other ones, Nick? Or
There are a couple of other, I mean, IPDTL is out there, and there's another, and I can't remember, Randy Morrison, I think, is involved with that one. And so there are a ton of different ways to work. I do work all around, forget around the country. I've done things for clients in Australia and over in Europe. So it allows us to really throw that net wide. And the biggest thing I can say is just know what it is that you do. One of the things that we're trying very hard to do is also educate you as to what your worth is in the business.
yes,
Don't take cheap money. Don't think that you need to pay your dues, because that's a bunch of crap. I'm sorry, don't mean to swear, but which I'm sure a lot of people go, what? No, that wasn't. Anyway, but the idea is you don't take less money to get where you're supposed. You are there. If somebody's willing to pay you for what it is that you do, you're already there. Now we're just going to quibble about the amount. And if you don't like what they're offering, don't take it. Know what you're worth and hold to that. So I want to make sure that new people coming into the industry don't make the mistakes that a lot of people do. And if you want to pay your dues, taking workshops like this, being involved, spending time networking with other people, you will learn very quickly what other people are making and how much you should be getting, or whether they're taking, less than they should. But you start to bolster each other in so far as knowing what your worth is and holding the line. That's how you keep everybody able to work in this business and make a living at it.
Absolutely. And I see one question that popped up before we end. Someone says, well, they want to know how to find out about auditions. The whole idea is that so many auditions now are on the traditional breakdown services, which is why we're bringing you this today, because your agents, there are so many agents now that are calling themselves voiceover agents because they're privy to these breakdowns. So learn what to do so you're worth something. Tell your agent that you now know how to do voiceovers and you have a demo, and you can load your demo up on your breakdown service. Casting Networks even has a whole voiceover section that we can post on and receive your auditions on. So so they're definitely swirling out there, but you have to be competitive and don't waste your time auditioning before you don't know what you're doing. I
Yeah,
guess I'll end with that.
absolutely. No, I think uh, what will happen is if you get out there too early, you'll probably do more. I don't want to say damage, but when you're ready to go and you have all your abilities set at a level where you're competitive and you have a good demo and you got things going, and it will happen. Things will start moving. If you don't have everything the way it should be, it will stall for that little bit of time. And maybe you'll figure out what you need to do and change and adjust to get to that point. But I will tell you, a lot of people don't make those changes and adjustments because they've spent so much time and money here and they didn't do it right. And then they lose interest. And there goes an opportunity that could have been phenomenal on the back end for no other reason than the fact you just went out a little too early. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you can do it, guys. Those of you who haven't done it yet. Jamie's posting, we teach under VoicePrint West, and we have a core Kickstart intensive. We made it easy. In our years of starting this many years ago, it was drawn out, and we said, we figured out a way where in 3 sessions, 9 hours, you can get all the basics and know whether you want to continue. And then, of course, you can continue with us. And look at our website, voiceprintwest.com. You can see all the demos of everyone who's already studied with us. And I'm sure on social media you see all the success stories of voiceover people who have studied with us. It's not easy, guys, meaning it's not quick, usually. And you have to have patience and respect for this. Otherwise, anything that's really quick, there's no long-term payoff. It's not real also, right?
Yeah. No, it's a process, and just like anything, if you want to bake a cake, You got to put in good ingredients, get it all set, and if you pop it in the oven, don't think you can get it baked faster by raising the temperature. You're going to burn it. And don't think that you can put it in and pull it out in 15 minutes and be ready to serve it, because it won't be done. So there are a lot of different analogies I can come up with that
I
pertain to
love
this,
them.
but it's out there in the real world. Every process takes a certain amount of focus, time, and energy to get it going and to perfect it and get it right before it's ready to be done. Anything can be done with it. So put in the time. Consistency is the biggest word I will tell you over and over again. Consistent action repeatedly is going to yield you results. If you step away from it for 3 or 4 days and you come back, you're dabbling. And if you want to dabble, that's fine. Just, I have a business mentor who actually asked me this question. He says, do you lie? I said, no, I don't lie. He says, okay, do you lie to yourself? Did you ever say you wanted to do something and you didn't do it? You just lied to yourself. I go, oh, well, there you go. Thank you for calling me out on that one. But we do that. We do lie to ourselves all the time. So all I'm saying is just be honest with yourself, decide what you want to do, and then follow through. That's all it's about.
And we're constantly following through. We're constantly refreshing ourselves and changing with the times, and it's fun. It's not like, okay, this is it, it's over, I've done it.
Yeah.
We're constantly getting better and better. Casting too.
Yeah.
Me as a casting director, I
Oh,
have to
you've had
know
to
what the
change?
trends are.
Yeah.
So it's constantly evolving. As Nick said, we love this part of the industry.
Yeah.
It is so supportive, and come on, we can get you into it if you want to in our core Kickstart.
It is the best gig in the world. I cannot think of anything I would rather do every day for the rest of my life. And luckily, I've been able to wake up for the last 38 years to do something I absolutely love doing. And you don't find that very often. But I have met very few people in this industry who don't have that same feeling. And I can't say how lucky and grateful I feel to have gotten into this business, because I had many other options available to me. This was not on the radar at the time, but boy, oh boy, am I glad I found out about it. So, yeah, I mean, just, let us help you along the way and point the path. And, you're going to have to make the journey. You're going to have to walk the walk, but we'll show you which path to take.
I'm going to leave it at that, because that was brilliant. I'll see you soon, Nick. I've been watching.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for your compliments of appreciating all the nuggets that we've just given you. Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much. We really appreciate you guys coming and spending some time with us. I know life is busy. We appreciate you taking the time to hang with us today.
Bye-bye.